This guy has just about predicted everything in Smash Ultimate. This is the RaySquad League. Blocked content. What's happening, my Block buddies, and welcome to a brand new episode of Blocked Content's Leak Speak. My name is Callum, and this is going to be your content for today. We have talked about the Paragon leak in the past, and a lot more information has been coming out about that leak. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is, of course, getting 2 more reveals for characters, and the internet is going wild, trying to find out who these 2 final characters could be. I mean, we've got such crazy, amazing picks for the last 3 characters. Joker was an incredible out-of-left-field kind of character. I feel like the hero from Dragon Quest is huge in Japan, and just having those 4 different characters in one, kind of like, you know, what the Koopalings are for Bowser Jr., and then having Banjo and Kazooie to get the West all riled up and crazy that maybe Banjo-Kazooie is now coming back to the zeitgeist, getting more games, and of course just having Banjo-Kazooie in Super Smash Bros., having Microsoft work together with them. It is a dream come true. So even talking about still getting 2 more characters that we know nothing about, this Fighters Pass is running through, I think, February of 2020. So if we are getting Banjo in the summer, then we don't have too much time anymore for those final 2 characters. They need to come out pretty close to each other, which is very interesting and very awesome. I mean, I've enjoyed Super Smash Bros. Ultimate a bunch. I feel like there was, some stuff missing from the initial outline. I feel like the shared content stuff with creating your own videos, creating, content that you can actually have players download, the stage builder, and, stuff like that, I feel like really extends the game. I think other characters do that too, so I would really love to have more game mode kind of stuff in the game as well, and, those 2 other DLC characters. However, this leak that we're going to talk about, we'll talk about exactly all those things that I just said. This is the RaySquad leak. And for those of you guys that like giveaways, we're still giving away Piranha Plant plushies, the cutest felt little munchers there are. Remember to like this video, subscribe to Blocked Content, and comment down below to enter in the raffle for this giveaway. We have about 3 to give away. I might get a little bit more than that just because we're giving away at 50k, but we're going super fast, so thank you guys so much for entering the competition. Plant Boys for life. All right, let's get into this leak. I just want to talk very briefly about what the actual leak is saying. So this comes from the GameFAQs forum. So this actually was 5 months ago. It was a long time ago, back when we didn't really know anything. So this person just drops a whole lot of stuff, and a lot of people are basically saying, yeah, the person that is coming out on top with all these things coming out now that we know about Banjo and Kazooie, now we know about the hero or Luminary or Erdrick or the other characters from Dragon Quest, now we know that this leak is most likely the one that's more leaning against the absolute truth that you can definitely have with this. And this leak says, RaySquad. Before I explain myself, I'm going to give the important information first. Characters: Piranha Plant, which is not correctly spelled, but of course he did get that correctly. Joker. Erdrick, which is of course not Erdrick in the game, however, it's being marketed as Luminary, or, the hero, as an amalgamation of all the heroes. But I think that having it as Erdrick, I have a theory where it's basically they started out having Erdrick as the base model. That's why it has the shield and the sword, Luminary. That's really not the silhouette of the character. It's more Erdrick's. I feel like that is the character that was the base of everything. And then getting Luminary as the face of it is really because it just coincides with the Switch release of that game. So they can really market it, They can say, oh, Joker is coming, so Persona 5 will get some kind of content on the Nintendo Switch. I don't think they're doing it with Banjo-Kazooie just yet because there's nothing to announce right now. But of course, with Dragon Quest, there's a definite, marketable position they're in. So having Erdrick be the face would be weird, but then having Luminary be the face is absolutely key to having, a little bit of marketability towards that specific game, and not just Dragon Quest as a franchise. I think they did that very smart with Super Smash Bros. For Wii U. I think they had a lot of characters in that game that were just coming up or getting their own games. The characters from the Pikmin franchise were getting their game, and then of course with Corrin, stuff like that. So completely makes sense in my book. So having Erdrick in this league I don't think is a mistake at all. I think that Erdrick might be the character that this person saw. Then he talks about Banjo and Kazooie, which is of course correct, and a crazy guess at that. I mean, Joker is the craziest guess out of these all. Then there's Lloyd Irving from, the Tails. I mean, this character, how crazy it would be to have in Smash Brothers. And the final one is Crash Bandicoot, which is also, of course, a character that was in the running for like the PlayStation mascot back in the day. So having a character from Microsoft be Banjo-Kazooie, then having Crash Bandicoot in there, and then having Mario and all those other characters, that's just going to be a crazy clash of the mascots, right? I mean, characters like Erdrick, Joker, even Lloyd Irving, they're great, and they have huge franchises. But having Banjo-Kazooie as the Microsoft rep, Crash Bandicoot as the ultimate Sony rep, I mean, we have Snake in the game, we even have Cloud in the game. I mean, just think about how crazy that is. But then having Crash is the ultimate choice, I feel. Even back in the All-Stars PlayStation game days, what was it called? PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale, Crash wasn't even in that game. And I feel like he's the most recognizable kind of face of Sony PlayStation, right? He was the original, the Naughty Dog. So yeah, I feel like that choice definitely makes sense. I think Lloyd Irving, of course, there's a lot of interesting quality about Lloyd because, as you guys know, Lloyd was, of course, in Super Smash Bros. For 3DS and Wii U as downloadable content. You could actually get a Mii Fighter costume, so a sword fighter costume with Lloyd's design, which was super awesome because it basically said to people, yeah, not happening in this game, but we're thinking about it, we love the design, we know that the character is popular, probably scored very high on the polls, so the Tails games get that representative in there as a Mii Fighter costume. And of course, with Mii Fighter costumes, you already think about characters like Geno that have not gotten any love aside from like a spirit, but you're also thinking about characters like King K. Rool, for example, who are definitely now in the game and look almost exactly like their Mii costume. So that's totally crazy, and that could actually be the key to that character being in. Now, I feel like I think Lloyd Irving would probably be smartest to be revealed not as the last character, but as the second to last character. Because I think from those two, Lloyd or Crash, I feel like Crash is definitely the character, even though it's, a Western character and it's not really that huge in the Japanese culture that, of course, the Smash Brothers development team is from. I feel like Crash has an audience everywhere, and I feel like Lloyd Irving's audience is a little bit smaller than that of Crash. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I do feel like that would be like a very big third-party kind of, Sony PlayStation mascot is happening in Smash. That would be the final mic drop for the character pass. But if you guys have any other ideas about that, I would love to hear it down in the comments. Now, Lloyd, I think, is very great to have in the game, not just because he's been a character that has been involved in Smash Brothers because of the Mii costume, but also because it's just very big in Japan. Lloyd is a character that always ranks very high on these lists, and not just the Smash Brothers lists, but like Tales series popular characters lists and polls and stuff like that, but also appearing as a playable character in a whole lot of different games. One of my favorite franchises. So there's Tales of the World, there's Tales of Versus, where Lloyd appeared in, there's Tales of the Heroes, Twin Brave, and as a skill in the Nintendo DS version of Tales of Hearts. Now, other than the Tales franchise, Lloyd Irving was actually, and looking pretty weird and human, but really cool, Lloyd is a playable character in Soul Calibur Legends. Now, that would definitely say we have a lot of faith in this character. We know that it's iconic. We know that Lloyd definitely has a big fan base and that we can get a lot of people happy. I think that Lloyd is an easy get also. Like, if you were to kind of call that company up and say, we are thinking about this character to appear in Smash, if the character has appeared in all these games and in a Soul Calibur game, no one's going to say no to Super Smash Brothers. I mean, generally no one would say no to Super Smash Brothers, how it would feel, other than like some like director or like a weird comic book character, which is never gonna happen. But I feel like happening in games like Soul Calibur, then I feel like there on the other side there would be no argument. It would be just use the character, and having that twin swords kind of a play style, having different magic attacks, and just generally the vibe of the character, I think would be really cool. It's a kind of a younger character, I feel, also in appearance, if they don't do the Soul Calibur route, and of course it's making a lot of people very happy of the inclusion. Just think about fan games about Super Smash Bros. In general. Every fan game that was worth something had Lloyd as a playable character in it. And of course, the biggest one is Super Smash Flash or Super Flash Smash, which a good buddy of mine, Lloyd Gaming, actually creates. And yeah, Lloyd is a very big character in there, and people are super happy about Lloyd Irving being in those games, because up until that point, it never really happened with Smash Brothers. And now this could definitely be the big change, because if you kind of look at the leak and you scour through it, it makes sense. We got Piranha Plant, we got Joker, we got Erdicor the Hero, we got Banjo-Kazooie. The final two characters actually make a lot of sense. You know, they're in that same kind of third-party category. They're in the same, you know, a mix between Western and a mix between the Eastern kind of fan bases. So for me, that totally sticks. And I feel like that is a really great, you know, idea, or a really great push behind this leak to say, that comes the most close that any other leak has ever gotten. So going on from this leak, it's actually saying that Crash is not set in complete stone. Crash Bandicoot may not become a reality, RaySquad says, but he is most likely the 5th DLC pick. It's one of those choices Nintendo made and want to pull through with it. The other characters they are confident are going to be in. I guess there's just some uncertainty with Crash for some reason. Now, I've got some ideas on this, right? And here they actually say most likely the 5th DLC pick. So that would make complete sense in my book. Having Crash as the final character would be the ultimate, you know, cherry on top of the Super Smash Bros. Ultimate pie that is so deliciously awesome. And I think Crash brings with him a great universe, some super good music, like the surfer kind of vibe music that we don't really have all that much in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I think like Big Blue has some of that kind of vibe, but I don't really feel like that's represented in the game at all. I think it could bring a great level too, you know, the kind of tribal vibes and maybe even some traps and enemies, and that all really fits with Nintendo's kind of feeling and the general Smash Bros. Ultimate vibe. So I feel like Crash could be a fun character, could have a moveset that makes complete sense with the slides and the belly flops and, you know, shooting the Wumpa Fruit and all that kind of stuff. There's one guy that comments on my videos that is a dear friend of mine, that is Taro Nook or Alan James. Alan, if you are listening, we probably did it, dude. Crash Bandicoot could be coming in Smash. This is really notable for us because we actually made a fan game which was called Super Nuke Brothers Melee, which was a spin on, I think, his franchise where he made, you know, Smash games, fan games with his friends. I got in as a designer and animator on that game later on, and I kind of pushed for a couple of characters, but Crash was from the outset always in because Taranuk or Alan James was actually a super big fan and made a Smash or made a Crash Flash game. I have to say it correct. So it was just a 2D version of Crash Bandicoot that he kind of created and kind of went viral. A lot of people played it. I think it was even ported to like mobile devices and stuff. So he was a really great push for Crash. And then I got to create and animate Crash Bandicoot in Smash. And he had a super good moveset. He even shot the bazooka with a Wumpa Fruit, and he had all these crazy cool moves and kind of the aerial attacks that you would see in the game as well, and the same jumping animation. So I could totally see that coming to Super Smash Bros. And it's a lot more easy now too, because Crash is, of course, in that super awesome Insanity trilogy that is now on Nintendo Switch. And how crazy is that? The model looks super awesome and would really fit with Super Smash Bros. I feel like the saturation of the Crash Bandicoot games on Switch is high up, and I feel like Smash Bros. Ultimate has a bit of a washed out kind of palette to it. You know, it feels very grayish in some areas. You know, if you look at the Spiral Mountain stage in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, you could make the argument to say that it's kind of drab and a little bit, you know, whitewashed out. I feel like that could definitely be different for Crash because that brings a whole lot of vibrancy with it. But yeah, please use a model that's super similar to the one that they now use in the Crash Racing game and in the Insane Trilogy, because that's a great model. But yeah, if you think about it being the final choice and that they're not confident with it, it could probably because at the time that they were still doing this, they hadn't decided yet to bring Crash to the Switch or to bring the other, you know, racing game to the Switch too. That was still maybe a big thing within Sony and Nintendo. You know, do we do this? So that might have been the choice. choice. And now that the floodgates are completely open, and now, of course, the entire game has changed, we know from Banjo that it takes months and months and months to, from the first conversation on to having the character in the game, it takes months of time, and maybe even a year of time. Now, with Crash, I feel like it would be the same thing. But once you get through that initial conversation where we do decide that Crash can appear on a Nintendo console and can have this presence on, the quote-unquote rivals system, I feel like it completely makes sense to have him in now. Maybe it wouldn't have before those conversations happened, but to have Crash in now would make complete sense, and everybody could see his moveset, and of course, new voice files that are already recorded from the other games, having some super good music, yeah, that whole vibe I think would be great. And of course, Crash, biting the dust, whoa! I think that would make a lot of people super happy. Now, there's other information that RaySquad adds to the bottom of this, saying Mii costumes will come back for DLC, new and old ones. Now, this has already been confirmed. I don't know, put down in the comments if there are any new costumes that we don't know about. I think, yeah, with the Joker DLC, we got a lot of new costumes with that. So there's definitely, this has already been proven real. A lot of DLC that came back is the Knuckles stuff and the Tails stuff that we already had in the previous game in the series, Smash Bros. For Wii U. So this is outright already confirmed too. So the RaySquad League up until this point is just all A's. Now, extra modes will be added back later down the line. They mean modes like Home Run Contest. Of course, we've already gotten new modes, a lot of great content, the sharing content kind of stuff, making videos and sharing stuff, but also super huge, the stage builder thing. And of course, Sakurai really wanted to include it in the base game because that was one of his pillars, fighting and then creating, and then the other one was like exploring or something like that. And he was very sad that he wasn't able to add all the pillars to the game, but having other game modes like Home Run Contest in there, that would expand a little bit more beyond just Smash, beyond just fighting. So, that's next to the fact that we know that Home Run Contest, there was already information that was kind of leaked in the code of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. So we know Home Run Contest is coming. It may even be coming with the character, the hero. It may be coming with Banjo-Kazooie because, yeah, it wouldn't take all that much time to implement Home Run Contest because it was already there in Smash for Wii U. You need to kind of re-update the graphic style of that, but there's already Sandbag in the game. There's already the Home Run Bat in the game. It's create a new piece of music or use something from like the big horde battle kind of stuff and then just add it to it. I think, of course, Sakurai is a kind of different game designer, and he really loves the detail. He really loves to have it super, super fresh and super quality filled. So, yeah, it might have taken a little bit longer just because he wants to do something new with it and not just the same old Home Run Contest, but maybe there will be some sort of new element to it. And we've talked about this in a previous video, so if you want to know more about our ideas of new game modes coming to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, it's on our channel. Now, also going out to say, they have new spirits planned to release later down the line for events and releases. Now, this of course happened. We have a whole lot of like Joker, Persona kind of spirits. So I have no doubt in my mind that this is going to happen for Dragon Quest because that has a rich history of characters and worlds and things that they could do great spirit battles from. And of course, we have so many sword fighters in the game with so many different forms or, alternate costumes. They could really see them doing some great Dragon Quest content. And of course, how cool would like a Rathalos fight be with Erdrick or something like that? Like in the trailer for the hero, that would be such a great event to go through. Now he says, one spirit name I was given was Sylux. Now, of course, we know Sylux Spirit isn't in Smash Bros. Ultimate, and everybody's kind of rumored that Sylux would be a playable character. There are a lot of people that are saying, Sylux could be one of the, final picks for the DLC. I don't see that happening. Sylux is a great character, but having these characters all be third party, Sylux, of course, doesn't appear to be in that thing. And if they hold a few characters back for maybe the next Smash Brothers game in a couple of years, Sylux would definitely be a top pick because, there's not much left. We've reached like almost the bottom of the barrel of characters in some respects, like even Daisy and stuff being added. Like, I like Daisy, but of course, having reached that point that you add Daisy of all characters, then you know that, it's time for the Syluxes to jump out, and maybe we've kind of hit it. We've hit the magic number where we feel this represents gaming as a whole pretty well. Now he says, I've heard a lot of DLC speculation on that character, so figured I'd tell you that one. So he basically says, I've heard a lot of people talking about Sylix coming to Smash Brothers as a playable character. However, that's probably not going to happen because the spirit name I was given was Sylix. So a spirit battle, something like Dark Samus in the purple costume probably would make sense. And it being maybe super hard because Sylix is of course like the rival to Samus in like newer games and teases to Metroid Prime 4 as well as Sylix being the big bad in that one. So I really would love to see something like that happen where it's leaving the door open for Sylix to be a character later on, but I don't think it makes sense within the theming of this current DLC Fighters Pass because these are all third-party characters. Having the last two not be third-party would be kind of weird. Or at least having the last two be third-party characters would wrap it up very nicely. And I think that that's the key here. It's like that would be a nice package to buy as someone who is kind of waiting it out to see the final characters. And then they're like, okay, so it's the big third-party pack. I really love these franchises, or one of them, or 3 or 4. And then he ends with saying, they are not planning to do a second wave as of now. They are just focusing on this one. If they do a second wave, don't expect it to happen immediately. I think that he means immediately after February hits in 2020. Now, my idea here is pretty big, and I want to talk about it a little bit more in an upcoming video, but in short, I feel like a second wave of DLC might not be happening for Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. What I feel that they might be doing here is they are not planning any more characters after this, because Super Smash Bros. Ultimate might be, finished after we get this DLC Fighters Pass. I don't think we're getting any more game modes. I don't think that we're getting any more characters or big content. I think we're going to get balance patches for, characters, but I don't think that, there's any big stuff coming, because Sakurai has said in interviews that he doesn't think that it will ever happen again, having so many characters in a game ever. This is a very unique opportunity to bring everybody back, to have all the rights again, and now with even Erdrick or the Hero or Joker, Banjo-Kazooie being in the game, that's just never going to happen again. I think that it might happen again, but I think it's going to happen in the form of the new Smash game. And I think if there is a new Smash game after this one, maybe for a different console, probably for a different console, then I think the main idea here is to start off completely fresh and to update characters throughout months and months and months. So to have a Smash game that is essentially a platform, almost like they're doing now with Ultimate, but, broaden it even more. Just the base game releases with some base characters, right? Characters that are maybe even more fleshed out than the ones that we have in Smash now. Maybe there's a new mechanic to the game, maybe it's a little bit more 3D than just 2D, maybe it just takes more time to create new characters for that game because it's a lot more rich and super different than the previous engines that we've played the game on, right? So that's my idea. They still have the models, they can still kind of write for those rights within the characters. Maybe the contract that people sign isn't a contract for, Banjo-Kazooie appearing in Smash Ultimate. Maybe it's for Banjo and Kazooie to appear in 3 Smash games or something like that. They do that with the Marvel movies all the time. So I feel like if they do another Smash game, it's going to be a platform, and they're going to release a great game that is super different, and the characters have a lot of different nuances to them, and then the downloadable content will be stuff like, oh yeah, you want Ike back in the game, or you want characters like Solid Snake or Sonic. Yeah, we need some more development time on those characters, but they are coming, and then ultimately we will build towards a roster that is bigger or as big as Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Of course, it will always disappoint if Sakurai is saying this will never happen again, because everyone kind of wants things to get bigger, and not smaller. However, I think they're going to get bigger internally. I think their characters are going to be, doing a lot more in other Smash games. There's going to be another gameplay component to them. So this final point where you're saying they are not planning to do a second wave, I think is correct. They are just focusing on this one. If they do a second wave, don't expect it to happen immediately. And I feel like it will just happen in another game. More characters, another game. So I'm super curious to hear what all you guys think about this information. Do you guys believe the RaySquad leak at all? So read through this, kind of feel like, is Lloyd Irving a character that you would be behind? Would you play as Crash Bandicoot in Smash? That is today's comment question. Should Crash come into Smash? So let me know in the comments down below, because your comment could be featured in our next video and be read on the show. As for our previous comment question, and I love reading through these, our question comes to us from GumballFan13 saying,
I don't want Waluigi because we already have plenty of Mario characters, stages, and music tracks. Also, unlike the other Mario characters, Waluigi has never done something special or has even been in a real Mario game. Personally, I would prefer a new Earthbound character because that franchise needs some more representation.
Well, thank you so much, Gumball Fan. I don't know if I did the voice right. I don't think so at all. I don't watch the show, but I know about it, and it's great. Some great visual stuff there. Now, other Mario characters, I think if I'm thinking about other Mario characters, then we've pretty much hit it. I think we need Waluigi if we're doing one more Mario character, or Geno, right? That would make sense too. Or maybe one of the Mario RPG characters, Paper Mario characters, you name it. An Earthbound character, as for our, Earthbound leak video that kind of happened, we still haven't deciphered if the Gygas leak is real or fake, or if there's something happening in the future, because now we know. I kind of debunked it saying, Smash doesn't do any more CG trailers for downloadable content. They've pretty much never done that. And then, of course, they come out with the Luminary trailer that's beautifully CG, and of course the Banjo trailer that's in addition to the King K. Rool trailer that's beautiful CG. So, yeah, I think that it's actually open for that Earthbound leak to be true, or at least for an Earthbound character to come, but I don't think that it'll be this game. I think that it'll be a future game. So thank you so much for sending in your comments, everybody. These are always a ton of fun to kind of read through, and of course a super big shout out to our latest Patreon supporters who also sent me super sweet messages all the time. So thank you so much. I mean, that really makes my day, and making content for the channel is a lot more awesome because I know that a lot of people are happy about it and asking me questions to, add things to the videos, information. So send it my way and I'll be sure to include stuff like that. If you want to have yourself created in blocked content style or pixel art, join our discussions, or have your own ideas, created by me for the channel, just go to patreon.com/blocked content. You basically donate, an amount of your choosing every month, and you get some awesome content for it, and I even take your ideas and make videos about it. There's a lot of incredible rewards there waiting just for you. And remember, if you're not yet a member of the Blocked Content family yet, super easy, click that subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications, because all the news, the fun, and leak speak you care about will be delivered daily to you. Also, you guys know that we have just launched a new show called Banjo-Kazooie Reviewee, where Banjo and Kazooie talk about Super Smash Bros. Ultimate Fighters, and maybe a certain witch joins the conversation as well in her rhyming fashion. So everybody check out that video, because if they become popular, I get to make a lot more, and the popularity of the animated shows will make sure that other content like Wario prank calls, like the Snake Codec videos, like Cranky Kong's advice, will continue to happen, because they are big projects to take on. They take a lot more people than just one person to create these kinds of videos, so support them so we can actually create more of those down the line. Thank you guys so much for watching them, and I'll see you guys around the corner where there's always more blocked content. And Crash, will you see us out? Woo! See ya!